What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy. Welcome back to some more Bible reading. We're getting into Genesis 48 now. And so basically, when we left the situation, as I seem to recall, it was basically just, there was the famine going on in Egypt and surrounding areas. Jacob and like his entire extended family moved down to Egypt because Joseph was there and he could help provide for them and all that kind of stuff. And it got to a point where things were so bad, almost the entirety of Egypt just sold themselves out to Pharaoh. Like, literally said, we have nothing to give but our land and ourselves. So basically agreed upon servanthood to Pharaoh as long as they would keep getting food to live. So, meanwhile, it seems like Jacob and them were doing okay. Possibly even really, really well. But anyway, we'll see what happens going from there as we read through this chapter. Oh yeah, also, Jacob's dead now at the ripe old age of 143, or 147, I think it was, actually. But anyway, okay, so, here we go. Enough preamble. Genesis 48, here we go. One day not long after this, word came to Joseph, "Your father is failing rapidly." So Joseph went to visit his father, and he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. When Joseph arrived, Jacob was told, "Your son Joseph has come to see you." So Jacob gathered his strength and sat up in his bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. He said to me, 'I will make you fruitful, and I will multiply your descendants. I will make you a multitude of nations, and I will give this land of Canaan to your descendants. I will give this land of Canaan to your descendants after you as an everlasting possession." Okay, so quick thing on footnotes, my guess is the first one is just, Jacob also being Israel in the Hebrew. Hebrew for the second one, God Almighty, is El Shaddai. And then instead of descendants, it just says seed in the Hebrew. But, okay, so Joseph goes to his father because he hears that his health is failing rapidly, and that implies that he's going to die soon. So Joseph goes with his two sons, and Jacob is getting into, stuff that he had been promised by God. All right, so verse 5. This is still Jacob speaking. "Now I am claiming as my own sons these two boys of yours, Ephraim and Manasseh, who were born here in the land of Egypt before I arrived. They will be my sons, just as Reuben and Simeon are. But any children born to you in the future will be your own, and they will inherit land within the territories of their brothers Ephraim and Manasseh. Long ago, as I was returning from Paddan Aram, Rachel died in the land of Canaan. We were still on the way, some distance from Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. So with great sorrow I buried her there beside the road to Ephrath." Okay, so the whole claiming Joseph's sons as his, I'm not entirely sure what the significance of that is, other than to, certainly make it clear that Jacob does indeed consider them to be part of his family, despite the fact that they were born in Egypt, away from where he was living. And then he gets into stuff about Rachel. Hebrew just says Paddan rather than Paddan Aram. That's what the footnote here was all about. So yeah, I guess that's about all that's really going on there. Sorry, real quick, doing a chat setting thing. Okay, so then we get to verse 8. Then Jacob looked over at the two boys. "Are these your sons?" he asked. "Yes," Joseph told him. "These are the sons God has given me here in Egypt." And Jacob said, "Bring them closer to me so I can bless them." Jacob was half blind because of his age and could hardly see. So Joseph brought the boys close to him, and Jacob kissed and embraced them. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "I never thought I would see your face again, but now God has let me see your children too." So, yeah, I mean, Jacob, for probably about 10 years or so, thought that Joseph was dead. And so, of course, he never thought that he would get to see Joseph's children, because he wouldn't have thought Joseph had any children, because he thought Joseph was dead. Also, the blindness due to age has been a thing that's come up multiple times to this point. I mean, I'm definitely remembering the thing with Isaac not being able to see very well, and thus the whole Jacob-Esau confusion with the blessing there. Anyway. Alright, verse 12. Joseph moved the boys who were at their grandfather's knees, and he bowed with his face to the ground. Then he positioned the boys in front of Jacob. With his right hand he directed Ephraim towards Jacob's left hand, and with his left hand he put Manasseh at Jacob's right hand. But Jacob crossed his arms as he reached out to lay his hands on the boys' heads. He put his right hand on the head of Ephraim, though he was the younger boy, and his left hand on the head of Manasseh, though he was the firstborn. So, I think Joseph was trying to position them in such a way that, you know, because it's commonly thought of with, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, kingdoms and rulers and things like that, that, you know, the sitting at the right hand of, you know, the king or whoever's the important person is deemed more important than the person at the left hand. So, given that the older one was generally the one to receive, you know, more of the inheritance and more of the blessings and such, Joseph was trying to position his sons so that the older one would receive the greater blessing. But then Jacob pulled an old switcheroo and crossed his arms. Anyway, so then we get to verse 15. Then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my grandfather Abraham and my father Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this very day, the angel who has redeemed me from all harm, may he bless these boys. May they preserve my name and the names of Abraham and Isaac, and may their descendants multiply greatly throughout the earth." So, very reminiscent of, you know, blessings that God had pronounced upon Abraham and then Isaac and then Jacob, and especially the whole descendants multiplying greatly kind of thing. Anyway, verse 17. But Joseph was upset when he saw that his father had placed his right hand on Ephraim's head. So Joseph lifted it to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. "No, my father," he said, "this one is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused. "I know, my son, I know," he replied. "Manasseh will also become a great people, but his younger brother will become even greater, and his descendants will become a multitude of nations." So once again, we have the younger brother being blessed with greater blessings than the older. Like exactly the same as what happened with Jacob and Esau, or Esau and Jacob if we're talking in order of birth. And not exactly the same, but kind of a similar story with, Joseph having these dreams that, his brothers would worship him. So far, God seems to have a bit of, I don't want to say favoritism per se, but a strong leaning towards younger siblings. Anyway, verse 20. So Jacob blessed the boys that day with this blessing. The people of Israel will use your names when they give a blessing. They will say, "May God make you as prosperous as Ephraim and Manasseh." In this way, Jacob put Ephraim ahead of Manasseh. Then Jacob said to Joseph, "Look, I am about to die, but God will be with you and will take you back to Canaan, the land of your ancestors. And beyond what I have given your brothers, I am giving you an extra portion of the land that I took from the Amorites with my sword and bow." Footnote says an extra ridge of land. They decided to just say extra portion in this translation. So Jacob kind of once again pronounces a blessing upon Joseph's sons, saying that, they will be the namesakes of future blessings. And of course, that wouldn't be the case if they didn't wind up having great blessings upon themselves and wind up prospering significantly. I do find it interesting that he says God will take Joseph back to Canaan. Not going to read too far ahead, but as far as I can recall, Joseph does not physically make it back to Canaan while he's alive. But maybe I'm wrong about that. It could also be that when he dies, he gets buried in Canaan with his ancestors. So that would also kind of bring that statement to fruition. But, yeah, I guess that really about does it for this chapter. I don't have too many other things to say. So, no real continuation as of yet on the broader situation with the famine and how people adjust to that and get through it. But I imagine we'll get a little more on that in the final two chapters of Genesis. All right, so that's going to do it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Just look down in the description for info on social media pages and all that. And of course, leave your comments down below that with any thoughts that you have. So, yeah. Like I said, hope you're all doing well. Hopefully, I will see you for the next one. But until then, stay cool, people.